They say the plains remember every soul that's lost on them, but sometimes it's the living that can't let go. I reckon that's the truth of it. We hold on, till holding on becomes the only thing we know how to do. Morning light, harsh now. The romantic gold of dawn burned away by the practical sun of midday. A man works alone on a fence line that's seen better years. His name is Elijah Cole, though most folks just call him Cole. Mid-40s, but the lines in his face say he's lived more than his years. Broad shoulders, hands calloused from rope and leather, and the thousand small violences of ranch work. He hammers a post into unforgiving ground. Each strike echoes across the emptiness. Thwack, thwack, thwack. Behind him, his ranch spreads out, small, struggling. A barn that leans slightly to the left, corrals with missing rails. A house with a porch that probably once held laughter, but now just holds dust. Elijah wipes sweat from his brow with a forearm, squints against the sun. He reaches for his canteen, takes a long pull of lukewarm water. That's when he sees it. Movement on the ridge, quarter-mile out, maybe less. He sets the canteen down slow, shading his eyes with one hand. His other hand drifts unconsciously to the rifle leaning against the fence post. A horse, wild by the look of it. Standing alone against the skyline like a monument, Elijah watches. The horse don't move, just stands there, staring down at something Elijah can't see from this angle. He frowns. Wild horses don't stand still. They run. That's what makes them wild. He picks up the rifle, not aiming it just, having it, and starts walking toward the ridge. His boots crunch through dried grass, each step deliberate. He's a man who's learned not to rush toward anything anymore. As he climbs the gentle slope, details emerge. The horse is bigger up close, powerful, a Mustang maybe, with that streak of white down its face like lightning frozen in time, and it's focused on something at the base of the old oak tree. Elijah's heart does something strange in his chest. A little skip, a little stumble. He knows that tree. He reaches the crest of the ridge, and the full scene reveals itself. The grave, the cross, the horse standing vigil. Elijah. What in the... His voice comes out rough, unused. He ain't talked to another soul in 3 days. The horse's ears swivel toward him, but it don't bolt. Instead, it lets out a sound. Not quite a whinny, not quite a cry. Something in between. Something almost human. Elijah approaches slow, rifle lowered now. Easy there, easy. The horse stamps once, a warning, but holds its ground. Elijah's eyes drop to the grave. Fresh dirt, like it was dug within the week. The cross is new pine, the cuts still raw and unweathered, and there at the base of the cross, half buried in disturbed earth, a torn hat, and something that catches the light. Metal. Elijah kneels, keeping one eye on the horse. His fingers brush away dirt, revealing a rusted locket on a broken chain. He picks it up, feels its weight in his palm. Behind him, the horse exhales, a sound like sadness. Elijah's jaw tightens. He looks at the ground around the grave more carefully now. Boot prints, recent, multiple sets. A trail leading back into the hills, toward the canyon country where outlaws and drifters hide when the law gets too interested. Something cold settles in his gut. This ain't just some stranger's grave. Can't be. Not with the horse refusing to leave. Not with that look in its eyes. The wind picks up again, and for just a moment, Elijah swears he hears something in it. A voice. Young. Familiar. Dad. He shakes his head hard, dismissing it. Grief plays tricks. He learned that years ago, but his hand, unbidden, reaches out and touches the cross. Elijah whispered, "Who are you?" The horse answers with that cry again, haunting, lost, night. The ranch house sits dark except for one window, the kitchen, where a single oil lamp burns. Inside, Elijah sits at a worn table, the locket in front of him. He's cleaned it up some, wiped away the rust and dirt. It's silver, tarnished but real. There's an inscription on the back, worn almost smooth. For Luke, ride true. His hand trembles as he reads it. The lamp flame flickers, casting shadows that dance across walls covered with the faded geometry of where picture frames used to hang. Empty hooks, blank spaces. Like someone tried to erase the past, but couldn't quite finish the job. Elijah's eyes drift to the one photograph that remains, sitting on the mantel above a cold fireplace. He stands, walks to it, picks it up with the reverence a man reserves for holy things. The photo shows a younger Elijah, smiling. Actually smiling. Beside him, a woman with kind eyes and hair pulled back in a practical bun. Clara, his wife. Was his wife, and between them, a boy. Maybe 17 in the photo. Bright-eyed, wearing a hat too big for his head and a grin that could light up the darkest prairie night. Luke. Elijah's thumb traces the boy's face through the glass. A man's got lots of ways to measure his life. Acres, cattle, years. But when you get down to the bone of it, what really matters is who you loved and who you failed. Rain. Torrential, biblical rain. The kind that turns the plains into a sea of mud and the sky into a solid wall of gray. A younger Elijah stands on the porch, water pouring off the roof in sheets. He's shouting, but his words are swallowed by thunder. A figure on horseback, Luke, waves from the yard, already soaked through. He's pointing toward the far pasture, making gestures. A calf must be trapped, stuck, drowning. Clara appears beside Elijah, her hand on his arm. She's saying something. The camera can't hear it over the storm, but her face says everything. Don't let him go. But Luke's already turning his horse, already riding out into that wall of rain. Elijah watches him go. The last glimpse is the white streak on the horse's face, disappearing into the gray. Back to present. Elijah sets the photograph down hard, jaw clenched. Elijah, to the empty room. Should have stopped him, should have wrote out myself. The words hang in the air, unanswered. They always are. They found his hat 3 days later, caught in a bramble 2 miles downstream. But they never found Luke. The river took him, folks said. Took him and wouldn't give him back. And after a while, Clara couldn't stay in a house that echoed with all that absence. Can't say I blamed her. A long pause. The lamp flame gutters. I stayed, not 'cause the land needed me, but 'cause leaving felt like giving up on the only thing I had left. The hope that maybe, somehow, he'd find his way back home. Outside, through the window, the wild horse appears in the yard. It's walked down from the ridge somehow. It stands there in the moonlight, staring at the house. At Elijah. Their eyes meet through the glass, and something passes between them. Recognition. Shared loss. The understanding that only comes from standing beside a grave when you got nothing left but the standing itself. Morning comes slow and gray, clouds promising rain but not delivering. Elijah rides back to the grave, the wild horse following at a distance. He don't try to approach it now, just lets it shadow him, like they're both orbiting something neither one can name. At the oak tree, Elijah dismounts. His own horse, an old bay named Dusty, waits patiently, while Elijah kneels beside the grave again. He picks up the locket, examines it closer in the daylight. It won't open, rusted shut. But as he turns it over, something else catches his attention. Leather. A small piece folded and tucked beneath where the locket was resting. He pulls it free. It's a note, sealed with wax that's partially melted, stained with dirt and something darker. Blood, maybe. His fingers work the fold open carefully. The handwriting inside is shaky, uneven. The letters formed by someone who maybe didn't have much. Schooling, or whose hand was trembling too hard to write straight. It reads, "He saved me, I couldn't save him, forgive me, no signature, no explanation." Elijah reads it 3 times, 4. The words blur and sharpen as his vision struggles with something that might be tears, or might just be dust. Behind him, the wild horse steps closer. Close enough that Elijah can hear its breathing. Close enough to feel its presence like heat from a fire. He doesn't turn around. "Elijah," voice breaking. Is this real?" The horse whickers, soft, almost gentle. Elijah stands, turns. The horse don't shy away. They stand facing each other, man and beast, with a grave between them and a question that's bigger than both. Sometimes the truth you've been running from finds you anyway. Catches up when you're too tired to run anymore. And when it does, all you can do is stand there and let it hit you full in the chest. Elijah looks down at the note again. Then at the trail leading into the hills, something hardens in his face. A decision made, Elijah. All right then. If there's answers out there, I'm gonna find them. He mounts Dusty, but before he can ride off, the wild horse cuts in front of him. Blocks his path. They stare at each other. Elijah, you want to come? That it? The horse tosses its head, steps aside. But when Elijah starts riding toward the hills, the horse follows, not behind, alongside, like they're partners now. Like they both got skin in whatever this mystery is. Elijah and the wild horse riding through canyon country. Red rocks, shadows, Elijah finding an old campsite, cold fire, boot prints, the horse stopping at a creek, drinking, waiting for Elijah, evening falling. Elijah making camp, the horse standing guard nearby. Elijah sitting by his fire, cleaning his rifle, glancing at the horse looking back. Some unspoken understanding growing. Funny thing about searching. Sometimes you go looking for answers, but what you find is company. Someone or something that's carrying the same weight you are. Makes it lighter. Just a bit, but enough. 3 days later, Elijah returns to the ranch. The wild horse follows him all the way to the barn. At the corral gate, Elijah dismounts. The horse stops, uncertain. It stood at one grave for days, followed a stranger through the wilderness. But this, entering a man's space, accepting a man's care, this is different. This is surrender. Elijah opens the gate, steps inside, leaves it open. He don't look at the horse, just starts going about his business. Fills a trough with water, scatters hay in the corner. Minutes pass. The sun sinks lower. Then, with a snort that might be resignation or might be acceptance, the horse steps through the gate. Elijah still don't look. But the corner of his mouth twitches, almost a smile. Elijah, quietly. Gonna need a name, I reckon. He finally turns, regards the horse. Takes in its proud stance, its stubborn eyes. Elijah, Rebel, that suit you? The horse, Rebel, stamps once. Not in warning this time. In agreement. Time moves like it does on a ranch. Slow. Measured in chores and seasons and the small victories of survival. Elijah brushing Rebel's coat. The horse finally calm under his touch. Rebel following Elijah around the property like a dog. Nighttime. Rebel in the stable, scratching at the door, staring toward the hills, Elijah letting him out. Watching him stand in the moonlight, facing that distant ridge where the grave rests. Morning. Elijah repairing the barn with new lumber. Rebel standing in the shade watching, Elijah's hands working. The sound of hammer on nail. The creak of wood settling. A moment where Elijah stops, wipes his brow, and looks at the work he's done. Something like pride crosses his face. A man can lose himself in work if he ain't careful. But sometimes, work's the only thing that saves him. Gives him a reason to see another sunrise. And if you're real lucky, you find something or someone that makes that work mean something again. The ranch starts looking better. Small changes. A fixed fence here. A painted door there. Like life's creeping back into a place that had forgotten what living looked like. One evening, Elijah sits on his porch with a cup of coffee, watching the sunset paint the sky in shades of crimson and gold. Rebel stands in the yard, silhouetted against that dying light. For the first time in years, Elijah feels something dangerous bloom in his chest. Hope, dust. That's how strangers usually arrive out here. in a cloud of dust that announces them long before you see their face. But this one comes at dusk, when the light's failing and shadows stretch long enough to hide all kinds of secrets. In town, 3 buildings and a church that barely qualify as a town. A young man rides in on a horse that looks as exhausted as he does. He's maybe 20. Hard to tell. Could be younger, could be older. The frontier has a way of aging folks beyond their years. Dusty clothes, a coat that's seen too many storms, an old revolver on his hip, the leather of the holster cracked and faded, and his right hand wrapped in dirty bandages, blood seeping through. He dismounts outside the blacksmith's shop, ties his horse with his good hand. The animal's ribs show, been ridden hard. Inside the shop, the blacksmith, a bear of a man named Hank, looks up from his forge. Orange light dances across his soot-stained face. Blacksmith, help you? The young man steps into the firelight. His face is gaunt, eyes hollow, the kind of hollow that comes from running, young man, voice rough. Looking for a place. Ranch out by the low ridge. Man there named Cole. The blacksmith's expression shifts. Becomes guarded. Blacksmith. Cole don't take to visitors. Keeps to himself these days, young man. Need to find him. It's important. Blacksmith. Everything's important to somebody. Don't make it my business. The young man's jaw clenches. His injured hand trembles. Young man. Please. I got something he needs to know. Something about his son. The word hangs in the air like smoke. The blacksmith's eyes narrow. Cole's son been gone nigh on 4 years, young man. I know. A long silence. The fire crackles. Somewhere outside, a dog barks. Blacksmith, carefully. You got a name, boy? Young man. Jonas. Blacksmith. Well, Jonas, if I was you, I'd ride careful approaching Cole's place. Man's got a rifle and not much patience for strangers. But if what you say is true, reckon he's got a right to hear it. Jonas nods, turns to leave. Blacksmith. Boy, Jonas pauses. Blacksmith. Get that hand looked at. Infection will kill you just as sure as a bullet. Jonas glances at his bandaged hand. Some things already killed parts of me. Hand ain't the worst of it. He walks out, leaving the blacksmith staring after him with a troubled expression. Later that night, Elijah's in his kitchen, heating beans on the stove. When there's a knock at his door, it's the blacksmith. Blacksmith. Cole. Elijah. Hank. Bit late for a social call. Blacksmith. Ain't social. Got a situation. Young drifter came through town this evening. Been asking about you. About your boy. Elijah's expression goes cold. What about him? Blacksmith. Don't know. Kid wouldn't say much. But he's got that look, Cole. The look of someone carrying weight he can't put down. Thought you should know. Elijah nods slowly. Appreciate it. After the blacksmith leaves, Elijah stands in his doorway, looking out at the dark prairie. In the corral, Rebel lifts his head, ears forward, like he's heard something on the wind that Elijah can't. Elijah, to himself. Here we go. He goes inside. Pulls his rifle down from above the mantel. Checks the load, just in case. Morning breaks clear and cold. Elijah's saddling Dusty when Rebel starts acting strange, pacing, snorting, staring toward the ridge. Elijah, what's got into you? He finishes with the saddle, swings up. Rebel bolts ahead, running flat out toward the ridge and the oak tree beyond. Elijah spurs Dusty to follow, worry creeping up his spine. As they crest the ridge, he sees it, a figure at the grave. On his knees, shoulders shaking, Rebel circles the figure, agitated but not aggressive, protective almost. Elijah rides closer, his hand on the rifle across his saddle. The figure is Jonas. He's collapsed beside the grave, his injured hand pressed against the dirt, his body racked with sobs that sound like they're tearing him apart from the inside. Elijah, commanding, "Get up!" Jonas jerks, looks up with red-rimmed eyes. He scrambles back, reaching for his revolver with his good hand. Elijah. Don't. The word is quiet, deadly. Jonas freezes. His hand hovers near the gun but doesn't touch it. They stare at each other. Rebel stands between them, looking from one to the other like he's trying to figure out whose side he's on. Elijah. You the one been asking about me? Jonas nods, swallows hard. You're Elijah Cole, Elijah. And you are? Jonas. Jonas Fletcher. Elijah. That's supposed to mean something to me? Jonas looks back at the grave. His face crumples. It means everything. It means I'm the reason your son is dead. The words hit Elijah like a physical blow. Time stops. The wind dies. The world holds its breath. Elijah dismounts slowly, deliberately. He walks forward until he's standing over Jonas, looking down at this boy who just upended his entire existence with a single sentence. Elijah, dangerously quiet. Explain, now. They sit on opposite sides of the grave. Rebel stands a few feet away, watching both of them. Jonas talks. His voice is shaky at first, then steadies as the story pours out, like a wound that's been festering and finally lanced. Jonas. I was running. From a gang up in the territories, outlaws. I'd been with them for about a year, since my pa died and I didn't have nowhere else to go. But they were bad men, Mr. Cole, the kind that'd shoot a man for his horse and not lose sleep. I couldn't do it anymore. So I ran, he pauses, looking at his bandaged hand. Jonas. They came after me. 5 of them. I'd taken something they wanted back, money they'd stolen from a family they'd murdered. Thought I could return it, make something right. But they tracked me. I was trying to cross the river during that storm 4 years back. My horse went down. I was drowning. Elijah's jaw tightens. He knows that storm. Knows exactly when Jonas is talking about Jonas. And then, out of nowhere, this young man on a horse. Couldn't have been more than a few years older than me. He saw me struggling, rode right into that water, pulled me out, took me to his camp, gave me dry clothes, food, didn't ask questions, just helped. Jonas's voice breaks. Jonas. We were riding toward a town the next morning. He said his name was Luke, said he was heading home to his family's ranch, that his pa would probably give me work if I needed it. He was kind, Mr. Cole. The first real kindness I'd known in a long time. Elijah closes his eyes. He can see it. Luke, his boy. Of course he'd help. That's who he was. Jonas. We were maybe 2 miles from the river when they found us. The gang. They came out of the trees shooting. I tried to tell Luke to run, but he wouldn't leave me. He stayed and fought. A tear runs down Jonas's face. Jonas. One of them got behind us, aimed at me, and Luke. He put himself between. Took the bullet meant for my back. Silence. Heavy. Crushing. Elijah whispered. Where? Jonas. What? Elijah, louder. Where did he take the bullet? Jonas touches his own chest, just left of center. Here. Elijah nods slowly, absorbing it. His hands are shaking. Jonas. He died before I could even get him off his horse. Last thing he said was, tell my pa I kept my word. I didn't know what he meant. Elijah, voice rough. Before he left that morning, I made him promise. Promise he'd come back safe. He said, a man's worth is what he protects, Pa. I'll keep my word. Jonas sobs. I'm so sorry. I buried him myself, carved that cross. His horse wouldn't leave. Stayed there for days until I finally had to ride him away. But he kept escaping, kept coming back. So I let him stand watch. Felt like the least I could do. Elijah looks at Rebel. Understanding floods through him. That's why the horse wouldn't leave. That's why he followed Elijah home. Luke's horse. Luke's loyal companion, Elijah. And you? Why'd you come back now? Jonas holds up his bandaged hand. They found me again. A few weeks ago. I killed 2 of them, but one got my hand. I realized I was going to die anyway, either from them or from the infection. And I couldn't die without telling you, without asking your forgiveness for letting your son sacrifice himself for a worthless piece of trash like me. Elijah. You think you're worthless. Jonas. I know I am. Elijah. Standing, voice hard. My son died thinking you were worth saving. You calling him a fool? Jonas looks up, shocked. Elijah. Luke saw something in you. Something worth dying for. And I'll tell you what, he had a good eye for character. Better than mine. So if he thought you were worth it, then you are. He extends his hand to Jonas. Elijah, get up. Jonas stares at the offered hand like it's a miracle. Slowly, he reaches out and takes it. Elijah pulls him to his feet. They stand there, on either side of Luke's grave, with Rebel watching. Two men bound by loss and guilt, and the ghost of a boy who believed in protecting strangers. Rain. Not the violent storm of 4 years ago, but a steady, soaking rain that turns the world gray and washes away the dust of secrets finally spoken. Elijah and Jonas stand at the grave together. Jonas has told him everything, where the gang operates, who leads them. How many are left? 3. 3 outlaws still hunting Jonas. Elijah bows his head over his son's grave. Elijah, you kept your word, boy. You always said a man's worth is what he protects. His voice is barely audible over the rain. Elijah, I'm proud of you. Proud of the man you became. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry I wasn't there. Sorry I let you ride out that day. Sorry for every damn thing I should have done different. Beside him, Jonas kneels, places his good hand on the earth. Jonas, I'll spend the rest of my life trying to be worth what you gave for me. I swear it. Rebel steps forward, lowers his head until his muzzle touches the cross. A gesture so human, so filled with intention, that both men stop breathing. The horse stays like that for a long moment. Saying goodbye, maybe, or making a promise of his own. Then thunder rolls across the prairie, distant but coming closer, and for just a second, it sounds like gunfire. The days that follow are almost peaceful. Jonas stays at the ranch. His hand is infected bad. Elijah has to lance it, clean it, wrap it properly. The boy runs a fever for 3 days, delirious, calling out names Elijah doesn't recognize, but he survives, and when he's strong enough, he works. Together, they rebuild the barn. New beams, fresh paint. Jonas is good with his hands, even one-handed. He's got skill, potential. In the evenings, they sit on the porch. Don't talk much. Just watch the sun set and listen to Rebel moving in the corral. One night, Jonas finally asks the question that's been hanging between them. Jonas, why didn't you shoot me? When you found out, Elijah considers for a long time. Elijah thought about it for about half a second. But then I realized, you're carrying Luke with you. His choice, his sacrifice. Shooting you would make that meaningless. And I won't do that to my son's memory. Jonas nods, wipes at his eyes. Jonas, I don't deserve your kindness, Elijah. Probably not. But Luke thought you deserved his. That's enough for me. Silence. Comfortable now. Jonas, you think they'll come? The gang. Elijah, reckon they will. Men like that don't let go easy, Jonas. I should leave. Before they... Elijah, you're staying. Jonas, but... Elijah, firm. You're staying. And if they come, we'll deal with it. Together. Jonas looks at him. Really looks, sees not judgment, but something he hasn't seen in years. A father-ness. Yes, Sir Montage. Father and son, not by blood, but by choice. Elijah teaching Jonas to properly mend a fence. Jonas laughing, actually laughing, for the first time in years. The two of them working side by side in the barn, Rebel watching. Evening. Elijah showing Jonas the photograph of Luke, Jonas holding it with reverence, Jonas carving something at a workbench. Elijah watching, curious. Morning. Jonas presenting Elijah with a new wooden sign for the ranch. Coal and Sun, Elijah staring at it. His eyes wet, him clapping Jonas on the shoulder. Looks good. Funny how family ain't always blood. Sometimes it's the people who show up when you're broken and help you put the pieces back together. And sometimes it's the people you choose to save, even when you're barely saving yourself. For a few weeks, life is almost good. Almost. It happens on a Tuesday. Or maybe a Wednesday. Time loses meaning when death comes calling. Night. Deep night. The kind where the stars are so bright they hurt to look at, and the silence is so complete you can hear your own heartbeat. Rebel is the first to sense it. He starts pacing in the corral, snorting, head high. Inside the house, Elijah wakes. Instinct. 20 years of ranch life teaching him that when animals act strange, you pay attention. He's pulling on his boots when he smells it. Smoke. He grabs his rifle. Runs outside. The barn. The barn is on fire. Flames already climbing the walls they just finished painting. Orange light turning the night into day. Elijah. Jonas! The boy comes running from the bunkhouse, half-dressed, eyes wide. They see the riders at the same moment, 3 of them, on the ridge, silhouetted against the fire like demons from a preacher's worst sermon. The gang, they've found Jonas. Rider 1, shouting, Jonas Fletcher. You're dead, boy. Should have stayed dead 4 years ago. Gun fired on bullets kick up dirt near their feet. Elijah shoves Jonas toward the house. Elijah, get inside. Jonas, no! This is my Elijah. Inside, now! But even as he says it, the riders are charging down from the ridge. 3 against 2, and Elijah ain't as young as he used to be. He raises his rifle, fires, misses, fires again. 1 rider goes down, clutching his shoulder. 2 left. They split up. Flanking, Elijah curses. Jonas, the house! We need cover, they run. Bullets chase them across the yard. 1 catches Elijah's left arm, just a graze, but it spins him. He stumbles. Jonas catches him. I got you! They make it to the porch. Elijah kicks the door open, and they tumble inside. Elijah. Windows! Cover the windows! Jonas grabs an old revolver from a drawer, positions himself at the front window. Elijah takes the side. Outside, the riders are circling, taunting. Rider. Come on out, Jonas. We'll make it quick. Well, quicker than you deserve. Laughter. Cruel. Empty. Elijah looks at Jonas. The boy's face is set. Determined. Jonas. I'll go out. Talk to them. Maybe, Elijah. You'll do no such damn thing. They ain't here to talk, Jonas. Then what do we do? Elijah doesn't answer, because he doesn't have one. And that's when Rebel screams, not a horse sound. Something primal, rage and loyalty, and 4 years of standing beside a grave all compressed into one sound that cuts through the night like a blade. They look out the window. Rebel has broken out of the corral. He's charging the riders. 1,000 pounds of fury on hooves, Elijah. No, 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 no! 1 rider tries to shoot. Rebel dodges, impossibly fast, and slams into the horse, sending both horse and rider crashing. The other rider turns to fire at Rebel. Elijah doesn't think. He acts. He's out the door, across the porch, rifle up. He fires once, twice. The second rider falls, but the first one, the one Rebel knocked down, he's up. Gun aimed at Jonas, who stepped out onto the porch. Time slows. Elijah sees the finger tightening on the trigger, sees Jonas frozen, sees his son, not Luke. But his son nonetheless, about to die. Elijah. No. He throws himself between them. The gunshot is impossibly loud. Elijah's body jerks. His rifle falls from his hands. He looks down, sees the red spreading across his shirt, looks up, meets Jonas's eyes, tries to smile. Elijah whispered, Told you. We'd deal with it. Together. He falls. Jonas screams. He fires the revolver, once, twice, 3 times, until the last rider drops. Then he's running. Sliding to his knees beside Elijah. Jonas. No, 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 stay with me. Stay with me! Elijah's hand finds Jonas's. Grips it weak but determined. Elijah, struggling. It's all right, son. It's all right, Jonas, sobbing. Don't call me that. Don't you dare call me that and then leave. Elijah. Too late. You're already mine. Luke would have liked you. His eyes start to close. Jonas. Elijah! Dad, please. The word dad makes Elijah smile. Really smile, Elijah, barely audible. Good name. For a good boy. Take care of. Rebel. His hand goes slack. His eyes close. And Elijah Cole, rancher, father, protector of lost boys, breathes his last under the stars he's watched his whole life. Beside him, Jonas screams. A sound of pure anguish that echoes across the burning ranch and out into the prairie beyond. Rebel stands a few feet away, head low, making that sound again. That almost human cry, grieving, always grieving. Morning. The fire has burned itself out. The barn is gone, just charred beams and ash. But the house stands. And under the oak tree on the ridge, there are now 2 graves. Jonas digs the second one himself. Right beside Luke's, he carves a new cross with shaking hands. Elijah, Cole Father, protector, he kept the faith. When it's done, he collapses beside the graves, his infected hand throbbing, his heart empty. Rebel walks up slowly, stands between the 2 graves, looks down at them both, then raises his head and lets out that cry again. This time it carries across the entire prairie. A sound of loss so deep it seems to echo off the mountains themselves. Jonas looks up at the horse. Jonas, broken. I know, I miss them too. He stands, walks to Rebel. The horse lets him approach, lets him rest his forehead against the horse's neck. They stand like that for a long time. 2 survivors, 2 souls bound by the men they couldn't save. Finally, Jonas steps back. Jonas, we can't stay here. They'll send more. There's always more. He looks at the ruined ranch. At the graves, Jonas, but I promise you both, I'll live the life you died giving me. I'll be the man Luke thought I could be, the man Elijah raised me to be. He collects what little he can salvage, straps it to Dusty, then he turns to Rebel. Jonas, you coming? Or you gonna stand watch forever? Rebel looks at the graves, then at Jonas. For a long moment he doesn't move, then slowly he takes a step toward Jonas, then another. It's a choice. To leave the past, to follow the living, but every few steps, Rebel looks back, always looks back. Jonas rides away from the ranch at sunrise. Rebel walks alongside, unbound but loyal. They reach the top of a distant hill. Jonas pauses, turns in his saddle. Behind them, the ranch is small now. The oak tree just a dark spot on the ridge, but he can still see it. Still feel it. Jonas whispered, "Thank you." Then he turns forward. Toward whatever future waits, Rebel stands still for one more moment, looking back at those graves where 2 men he loved are buried. Then he whinnies, soft, mournful, and follows Jonas. The camera holds on them as they ride into the rising sun. 2 figures growing smaller and smaller against the vast emptiness of the prairie. They say some souls find their peace under open skies, and some ride forever between the living and the lost. But maybe that's the point. Maybe peace ain't about forgetting. It's about carrying the ones we love with us, until we meet them again on the other side. The camera rises, higher and higher, until the prairie stretches out in all directions. Endless, beautiful, harsh, and somewhere in that vastness, 2 riders continue on. Man and horse, father and son, living and remembering. This was the story of Elijah Cole, and Luke Cole, and a wild horse named Rebel, and a boy named Jonas who learned that family ain't always blood. Sometimes it's the people who see you drowning and dive in anyway. The sun climbs higher. The prairie turns gold. The plains remember. They always do. Every sacrifice, every loss, every moment of grace that happens when no one's watching but the wind and the stars. And if you listen real close, you can still hear them. The ones who love so hard they change the shape of the world, even if the world never knew their names. A final image, the oak tree on the ridge. 2 graves, wildflowers growing around them that weren't there before. Life, even in death. Always life. For everyone who's ever stood beside a grave and wondered if love was enough, it is. It always is.